Okay, all right. So I'm going to get started. My name is Stephanie Lerner. I am the Director of Grant Programs with the Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance. You all have reached the Creative Entrepreneur Accelerator Grant information session. So welcome. Um, for those of you who might not know, the Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance has been around for over 50 years. We have supported the region's arts and culture community, representing a diverse ecosystem of nonprofit organizations, artists, and creative entrepreneurs across the Greater Philadelphia region. Our influence amplifies the voices of a cultural community that promotes creativity and strengthens the region. And one of the things we're happy to do is be able to offer this grant program. So the Creative Entrepreneur Accelerator Grant is for creative entrepreneurs who have or aspire to start their own for-profit business in whatever creative field that you're in. So sort of using your creative practice for some sort of business entrepreneurial endeavor. It is a grant of $2,000 along with business consultation support. It is funded by what is now the PA Creative Industries, formerly the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts. They are a state agency, and we do the work in partnership with the small business development centers. So I know we have some of those folks on the line. I thought I saw Monica and Erica, so welcome. Um, they're the small business experts, and they offer these resources for free. Um, so, take advantage of what they do. One thing just to share, this is the final round of this iteration or version of the Accelerator grants. We've been running them for the last several years. This is the last one that the Cultural Alliance will run next year, the next fiscal year. The PA Creative Industries will um, centralize and kind of revamp the program, kind of do another iteration of the program. Um, our partners at the Small Business Development Centers, we work with Temple, Erica Duran, Isabel Crome, and Mark Tucker, as well as others. And then we also work with Widener, um, Kevin Ticino, Monica, I'm going to mispronounce Herrera Zuniga, and Zachary Piatti, again, as well as others. But those are our fabulous SBDC partners. So I'm going to walk through the timeline, and then I will walk through kind of step by step of what is entailed in the application process and the grant as a whole. So beginning on Monday, March 2nd, the what we call referral period will open. That is when you can start meeting with the SBDC partners. Um, when I go into the details, I'll explain kind of the scheduling process. Um, Once you meet with a referral partner, you can then apply. The applications will begin, you can apply immediately. We did have it a little bit different in the past, but we're trying to shorten the overall timeline. So March 2nd, the referral period will open. May 15th, the referral period will close. May 22nd, the all applications will be due. So we wanted to leave a little bit of time for people to get their applications in, but essentially you have 2.5 months to have a meeting with one of our SBDC partners and then get your application in. Um, in May and all of June, we will review the applications, so they'll be reviewed as a batch. We will then, by late July, make award notifications. August, we'll be completing the paperwork. And the grant award start date will be August 1st. And then the grant end date is a little shorter this year because of the state programmatic changes. The grant will end December 31st. So that means you will have until December to spend your funds and to submit your receipts and proof of payment. And you will then have another survey requirement that I'll talk through. So that's the overall general time frame for the this grant round. I should actually pause and say if there are questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. As I mentioned, this is being recorded, so we will be sharing it on our website with the slide deck afterwards. Please feel free to also put in the chat kind of what is your creative business or what creative business do you plan for that you're interested in. We have a lot of amazing talent in the region, and we want to support and promote and amplify all that you do. So please feel free to use the chat to share or to ask questions. So I'm going to dive into um, the actual details of the application process. The first step is to check your eligibility. Every on our website, which I think you should have all found because that's how you registered for this session. On our website, there is a link that you can click that will take you to a SurveyMonkey that has essentially a checklist that walks through. Yes, I am over the age of 18. Yes, I have not received this grant, or if I have, it's been, in it's been over 3 years, um, that kind of thing. So the website has uh, the link to that chat, and I will drop. I'm sorry, the website has the link to that checklist, the eligibility checklist. Um, Oops, hopefully that went in as a link and not just the text. So let me fix that. Um, one moment to get the correct link. Um, oh, it's showing as a link. Okay, great. Uh, so the eligibility checklist, you can walk through that. At the end of that, if you are eligible, it will give you a series of links to schedule with the referral partner. Those links will go live on March 2nd. So you can click through the eligibility checklist right now, but we will get the links in there and live for March 2nd. Um, so, uh, oh, look, that's a screenshot of on our website, slightly last year's branding. So the text font will look different, but you can complete your eligibility form on the website. Um, Something else just to kind of highlight the creative industries that are eligible. There are full guidelines on the website, but this is a list of the industries. We do uh, we don't get into we try it's a balance of listing every single thing while also trying to keep it open because we don't want to be too prescriptive about what is a creative artistic practice. Um, but this is the list from the guidelines around what the different creative industries are. One thing I want to note, which was clarification that we received from the council's guidelines last year, is that service organizations, so let's say you're a consulting practice that offers accounting services for artists. That is something that would not be eligible as the your practice in and of itself, accounting, is not considered a creative industry. The artists that you support would probably be eligible. So I wanted to just clarify that, as well as um, if you've already received this grant within 3 years, it is within 3 years of when you successfully completed the grant. So when you submitted all of your receipts and we closed out the grant. So it's 3 years from that point. I do see a question in the chat about residence eligibility. Um, I believe let me go back to the slide with the resident for at least 1 year. Yes, I would say that it's as of the application deadline would be the 1 year date. So if you've just moved to Pennsylvania, um, welcome. And that residency would be as of the application deadline. Okay, I'm gonna move forward. So, all right, checking eligibility. Now you're meeting with the referral partners. As I said, at the end of the eligibility checklist, there will be scheduling links for you to set up your meeting. And you can choose whichever one has a better appointment time. It does not matter if you live in Philly, you can go to Widener. If you live in the suburbs, in the counties, you can go to Temple. They are both fabulous and are making their schedules available in extra, a lot of extra schedule times, appointment slots available for folks to schedule appointments. They do book up, so please, don't wait to schedule. You know, don't wait until May 21st to try to get an appointment. Do that, in March as early as possible. Um, I know we have them on. Hopefully, you've still been able to be on. Monica or Erica, um, do either of you want to say a few words about the small business development centers and kind of what that meeting will do?
I'm happy to, unless Monica feels strongly.
Go ahead. I can chime in if it's needed.
Perfect. So Widener and Temple both host small business development centers. This is a program of the SBA. We provide no cost business consulting and business education to any entrepreneur in Philadelphia and Montgomery County. As far as these referral calls go, it'll be we schedule 30-minute interviews. Sometimes it can be shorter. We'll kind of be interviewing you based on the information being requested by GP. Um, gosh,
GPCA.
thank you.
It's
I'm
okay.
so sorry. Um, And so that will be our official end with our process, or that you have to deal with us. But both of our centers, as I mentioned, offer free business consulting, um, and so you're welcome to come back. As you will know soon or already know. You'll be working on a business plan as part of this application, so we're happy to help in that space. And you're welcome to check out our websites to find out when we have our general writing a business plan classes. We'll be offering one about the business of art. I think it's March 26th. That will be specifically for the business plan template being asked for. So that'll
Great.
be available to you. And if you missed that, that's okay. We'll record it and send those recordings out to anyone who wants it.
Great. Yeah. And if Erica and Monica, you want to put your websites in the chat, that would be great. And Monica, anything else to add? I know you sometimes have some sessions specific for creative entrepreneurs.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. And so happy to participate for the this is the fourth year, right?
Yeah,
Or
I think
something like
so.
that. So we are so happy to, to talk with you and support your endeavor in the creative arts. Um, just a couple of extra things. If you have contacts that need the session in Spanish, we will be offering that as
Mm,
well. Um, so that is one thing. And we haven't scheduled the final dates for the trainings for creative
okay.
entrepreneurs. So Erica mentioned the ones that Temple has scheduled, but we will be working on, specific areas for creative entrepreneurs, and we will let you guys know.
Fabulous. Thank you. Yeah, definitely look for those resources from both Temple and Widener. They're really wonderful. And do this above and beyond to have all of these appointments with folks. So once you meet with uh, either Temple or Widener's staff, you will then get a link to submit your application. We use the software platform Submittable, so you will have to submit through that platform. The application period will close Friday, May 22nd. In the past, I made it 5 p.m. and everyone was like, "I thought it was midnight." So I made it 11:59 p.m. Friday. That's when the applications will close. However, we do encourage you to submit much sooner than that. Don't wait until 11:58 p.m. because the one computer will think it's 11:58 and one computer will think it's 11:59 and the system shuts it, closes the applications automatically. So we don't want you to run into that. We just encourage you to submit your application as soon as possible. Um, you can only submit one application, and you have to have met with your referral partner to be able to move to the application stage, right? To submit your application. Um, our website does have a link, which I can drop the direct link into the chat. We have a copy of the application questions. As you'll look at them, you'll see they are very much around a business plan. So that's what Erica was referring to. But I have the application as a Google Doc. You cannot edit the actual Google Doc that we have up there, but you can download and save a copy and work on the questions ahead of actually submitting them. So the Google Doc that I just dropped in the chat are the application questions themselves. Oh, and I guess I already advanced to the notification. So once everyone submits their application, we go through a review process, and we will notify applicants probably late July, um, to actually, that they were successful. Last year, I want to say we had about 130 something applications and we had funding for 75. We have the same amount of funding this year, so we have funds for 75 people to receive a grant. Um, there's some paperwork involved. You will have to or you have to sign a grant agreement. You'll have to submit a W-9 to us, um, because because this is a grant to an individual, it is treated differently than, say, a grant to a nonprofit organization. This is to you as an individual or to your business. So it is reportable. I have some language in a later slide that clarifies that, but we do require you to submit a W-9 as part of the grant paperwork. There's also a survey that you will have to complete. It is actually run by the state's evaluation partner, and it shares oh, I didn't it just looks at kind of where you are as a business. So the state is trying to understand, what's the state of creative entrepreneur small businesses, and can use that information to help you think about what you need and to help them think about what kinds of programming would be useful. Um, so that completing the survey is part of the paperwork to receive the grant. Um, we send payment through bill.com. So everyone, we will get everyone connected to send it electronically. We encourage electronic payments because people have checks get lost in the mail. And so we want to send payment electronically. And I'm sure you will want to receive it faster as well. So you actually have the grant. What are the eligible uses of the grant? This grant is very much intended to be to help accelerate or um, to help kind of catalyze, whether it's starting or you started and you're trying to grow. It's meant to help boost you. It is not meant to be used for standard, ongoing, regular business operations and operating costs. So whether it's getting additional training right through professional development or upgrading your technology or um, uh, you know upgrading your equipment, those would be the types of expenses that would be that boost. So if you could just get that fancy laser printer or a new computer that has the processing power that's needed, or a better sewing machine, those are some of the types of things that we've seen people use it for. It's also, filing your LLC. Those sorts of administrative and legal expenses are great uses of this grant. Um, oh, it skipped. So funds may not be used for um, very standard things like payments to lobbyists, or things that have a political, um, attempts to influence legislation. But two things I want to flag here are the activities outside of the funding period. So this is not a reimbursement grant. So if, let's say, you're doing something right now that has expenses, you can't pay yourself back for that. You have to spend the funds in between August 1st and December 31st. So that's your window to use the grant funds. And then it also, as I mentioned, it cannot offset regular operating costs, such as salaries or wages. I see a question about where do we check to certify that we have all valid licenses, permits, leases, certifications, etc. Um, I believe in the application or in the eligibility checklist. I honestly don't recall off the top of my head which one. There should be something that you sign that, or it must be the application. You sign and certify that you do. Every county and municipality sometimes has different licensing requirements. So we don't list all of those to have you verify, as well as many different industries have different requirements. So when you apply, you will sign something that certifies where you state that you have done this or that you will do if you're in the stage of starting a new business. Um, so it's part of the application.
Oh, Stephanie,
Yes.
just to mention that if you have doubts of what is needed to complete that, in the meeting with Erica or with us at Weiner, we can check that information. Usually for Philly is just a business activity license, but other counties might need a different type of license. It depends of what do they do, but in general, in the artistic world, probably is going to be just that
That's a
activities.
great, thank you,
But
Monica.
we can
Yeah,
help you to find
yeah.
out. Mhm.
That is a great resource. Yes. I know, for example, some counties, one of the groups that became eligible recently, the council updated the guidelines, was to allow tattoo artists. That was as of last year. And there are certain licenses or certifications. I don't recall exactly, but it varies county by county. And so, yes, the Small Business Development Center could help you make sure you are um, registering for the correct things and getting the correct permits, etc. Um, yeah, that's a great question and great addition. So as I mentioned, you have between August 1st, once you get the award, you have between August 1st and December 31st to utilize the funds. Because these are state Commonwealth dollars, they do have reporting requirements connected to them. Um, the biggest thing will be that you are required to submit a basically proof of purchasing, your receipts, to us so that we can verify that you spent the $2,000 in the way that you said you would, and it was for eligible expenses. Um, we are required to report that back to the state. And so the process for doing that is that we set up folders in, it's a platform called box.com. So we'll set up a secure folder where you can upload your receipts as well as a list of essentially an expense report, financial report that says this is what this was and this is, how much it was. You do have to utilize all $2,000 if you and provide receipts to show the use of the full 2000. If you do not spend all 2000 or demonstrate how you used all $2,000, we will have to ask for it back and give it back to the state. So I encourage you when you're filling out the application and saying how you're going to spend the funds, and I'm saying I'm going to buy, um, a new laptop, and the total comes to $1,923, and then you submit that receipt to us. We're going to have to say, well, what did you do with the $77 or whatever? I, made those numbers up, but we're going to have to ask what you did with the difference. So, if it's thank you. I'm seeing some questions. If it's 2,200, we assume that you covered the extra 200, and that's great. That's totally fine. So we assume that it's probably not going to add up to exactly 2,000, but if it goes over, then we know that you used all of the funds. Um, I think building a website could be considered a startup cost, since I think building a website is different than ongoing maintenance. So yes, if you wanted to create a website and use this to pay a web designer, um, or graphic designer, for doing like a logo and brand development, those are great uses of the fund. I see another question. Is there a requirement on what I purchase? The requirement would be that it has to fall within the eligible uses of funds. So, if it's, supplies or equipment, is it building a website or doing um, brand development? Buying a printer is absolutely, that's a piece of equipment. So you could buy a printer, or a laptop. I know, there are a lot of artists who do digital media and video editing, although that's become a lot more affordable. But all sorts of things. The idea is that it's something that has a startup cost associated. So if you just had that little bit of extra startup capital, that's what this could be used for. Um, would paying others to help you with projects qualify? So if you are paying, say, a consultant to do graphic design or do other sort of web development, that um, that would be a use of the funds. But if you are hiring staff um, to help you, let's say you're a woodworker and you need to hire a shop hand to help you like with the sanding, um, that would not qualify because that's a business, a sort of what should be a regular business operating cost, is the paying of a staff person, even if it's part-time, or, very much of a side position. But hiring someone to do marketing or to do something in a consultative capacity could be eligible, yes. Um, if you meet PA residency requirements, but your business is registered in another state, is that okay? Um, that is a good question. I actually would have to check um, with the council staff. So if you could email the grants at philaculture.org, um, I have somewhere, uh, is on the bottom here. Um, I can follow up to answer that question. Professional development classes, like a creative writing class, also a great use of the funds. Other types of professional development as well. Um, I would say prototyping, would the use for prototyping be acceptable? Probably yes. Um, I think it would probably depend on the specifics, but I'm going to say yes because that's research would probably fall under research and development, right? You're prototyping your product or whatever the case may be. Uh, a question about if you're on an F2 visa. Yeah, you do have to be. Um, I'm going to double check. This is what I have as the bullets for eligibility. Um, so I will have to follow up on further eligibility questions. I do see another question about if classes are paid for in the time frame but not actually held during the time frame, could they be included? Yes. Um, it is when you spend the funds, and as long as you can produce a receipt or a, paid invoice, um, that is dated within August 1st to December 31st, 2026, then you should be good. Uh, so I'm going to emphasize, please keep your receipts so that you can submit them to us. The second reporting requirement is completing a survey. So you'll take a survey at the beginning when you get the grant, and then you will take one a year later, as kind of a longitudinal evaluation um, of the grant program. That grant will not be administered by us. It will be administered by Bridgeway Capital, who's the evaluation partner. You don't really need to know that, but if you email me and say, I never got the survey, I'm going to say, go email them. Um, but you don't really need to worry about that. Um, so, as I did mention that we do collect W-9s as part of this, we will issue 1099s for this grant if you receive the award. Um, it is funded through taxpayer funding because it is a grant to an individual. Um, it's not a gift and it should be reported in your tax filings. I cannot provide advice on um, your taxes or your finances and accounting. We would tell you to consult with a tax professional and visit the IRS website. But I can tell you that it should be it it cannot be considered a gift and it should be reported. Whether or not you will owe taxes on it, that is per your own personal situation. But that is a an important notice to provide about this grant. So to review the timeline again, um, the referral period and really the application submission period will open Monday, March 2nd. We'll have the links to the eligibility. In the eligibility checklist, you'll get the link to schedule once they go live. You can have your meeting anytime between March 2nd and May 15th. And I think actually that might even go until May 22nd. Either way, the applications are due in full and fully completedly submitted are due May 22nd by 11:59 p.m. We will then do review, send notification, fill out the paperwork, and the grant period, which is when you have to spend the funds, is August 1st to December 31st. And December 31st, maybe before the holiday break, you can submit your receipts to us, and then we review them and submit information to the state. Something else, which I think I mentioned, is that if you have received this grant before, you are eligible. Um, it has to be 3 years from when you completed the grant. And if you did get the grant but didn't submit all of your receipts or you didn't follow up when to fully kind of finalize everything, we have to put that you're not in compliance, and so you would not be eligible for future grants through the council or through PA Creative Industries. So that's the consequence of not doing that. But we definitely encourage you to just keep all of your receipts, upload them when we send out the box folder, and it's usually pretty good to go as long as you make sure it actually adds up to $2,000 and the list of things you spent matches the receipts that you give us. And if you have, accounting questions, tax reporting, thank you, Erica. There is a free business tax preparation program. The small business development centers will also have advice on not doing your taxes themselves, but maybe places to go for other supports, accounting support, etc. Um, I will. Uh, so we don't select types of projects, but we do look at the completeness of the application as well as does the business plan. Um, Let me pull up the language on the website. Somewhere I have language about we're looking for essentially does the business plan demonstrate or does the application should say. So you don't actually submit a separate business plan. We do have space in the application if you want to upload kind of additional materials. But the application questions themselves are the essentially make up the business plan, so to speak. PA guidelines. So what we look for is basically that you have a complete business plan, that it is uh, viable in some way, that it is that you have all your materials, that kind of thing. We don't judge, is your creative practice um, good? Like, do we like it? We don't look at that. People have different opinions, and so it's not about, do we like your art? It's about, does this make sense as a business? Um, we try to stay away from judging people's kind of creative practice in that regard. We're really looking for, are they putting together a thoughtful application, and not just, one sentence that shows that they're not really thinking about this, that they're not taking whatever they're doing seriously, and they're just looking for a grant, which I get, you know, I don't blame anyone for that, but um, we want to know that someone is responsible, and also going to make sure they submit their receipts, so that we can report that to the state. Um, but yeah, we don't actually really don't take a look at, oh, we have too many, musicians. I kind of we don't look at the whole of the application pool like that. It's really, does this applicant, you know, have everything together? Does it make sense? Is it, you know, is this sort of a good um, overall package of application? So that's kind of what we're looking for. I want to just, as a couple of reminders, you can, take a look at all of the guidelines. Yeah, on the website, there's also there's a document that's specifically from the PA Creative Industries. That's what we use as our, I'm dropping it in the chat. That's our guidance as well as for you all. So that's what we get from PA Creative Industries on, managing the grant program. And if I didn't say that at the top of the session, we get funding from the state, PA Creative Industries, to administer this program. We are one of many regions around the state that are administering the same program. We do it on slightly different timetables, but this program is a statewide grant program, and the council is the ones who set these guidelines. We are managing the process, and I put the application questions together, but really the sort of overall structure comes from PA Creative Industries. Um, then other kind of just general tips. As I had already mentioned, you can save a copy of the application questions, and that way you can work on your questions ahead of time, before you actually submit them. Please, proofread and double check. People are using, the AI tools now to do proofreading for you. Please don't, um, you can use that as a tool. I would say if it reads like it's written by a robot, I don't know, we're looking for soul as much as we are something that is legible. Although I should say that that's maybe my own personal take on the use of AI. Uh, if you have any questions, the email to ask questions is the grants email. Um, I would say that's probably your best bet at getting a fast response. I do, get phone calls, but email is faster. Um, and if you're emailing that, you're getting me, because I monitor that inbox. If you're not already signed up for our Culture Wire newsletter, Please do that. That is on our website. That has lots of other information, as well as our grant, grant options. This is the last one that we will be running, so we probably won't have as many in the future, but we do encourage you to stay connected. The Cultural Alliance does a lot more than just administer these grants. We do research, we do advocacy, and it's really on behalf of and for the arts and culture sector as a whole in the region. Um, and that's our regular main website. There should be a spot on there to sign up for the newsletter. Let me see. Um, we will be getting a new website in the next few months, so it might change a little bit, but please stay connected with us. Um, and I think that that's
Are you
everything in
able to
terms
drop
of
it in the chat?
yes, I dropped the website in the chat. I'm going to stop
Thank
sharing.
you.
So that's it for my direct presentation, but if you have other questions, stop share. There we go. If there are other questions specifically about the grant, I'm happy to answer more questions.
Hi.
You are
Uh,
welcome.
I just
Hi.
had one quick question. You
Yeah.
said this is an individual grant. Um, so it would go to, for example, my like tax and stuff. If I had an LLC filed before that point, uh, you wouldn't be granting it to the company necessarily, but more to the individual applicant.
That's a great question. It can go to the LLC, because I know that that has tax implications, which way it goes. Um, it can go to the LLC. We will actually verify that when we get to the congratulations, you got an award. Um, Please tell us, where to direct the funding.
Gotcha.
And when you fill out the sort of electronic bank info, you can then have it go towards your business bank account if you have one.
Okay.
Um, and when you submit the W-9, right, it would have to be your EIN, your W-9 with your EIN. So we will sort of check it at that stage.
Gotcha.
In terms of the application, we don't have a preference, because some people don't have an LLC and they're in the startup stage, and some people do have an LLC and have already started a business.
I
That
just know
just
I need to have that figured out before August, so I'll probably have that filed
Yeah,
away by that point anyways. But yeah, okay,
yeah,
cool. Gotcha. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
So Stephanie, I'd just like clarification again about the question I was asking if your business is registered in another state. You wanted me to email philoculture.org or do I email you?
You can email grants@filiculture.org.
Grant,
That's the
okay,
main
okay,
grants.
okay,
Any questions? Grants@filiculture.org is
right,
our website, or I'm sorry, is our email address.
okay.
That's for sort of general inquiries for grant making, things like that. I'll probably use that one to send out the sort of general notices, or I send out, reminder to submit your reports to to grantees. They'll come from grants at.
So, this is kind of a general question, and you did kind of cover this a little bit, but I just figured I would ask. Is there anything specific that you would like recommend to try and like stand out amongst the other applicants? Um, like when submitting to keep in mind?
Hmm. Um, that is a good question. I think about how to say this. Um, I think so what's interesting about this grant is that we really try to balance the artistic passion with practical business, um, concerns. So I would say an application that conveys your passion, and I'm assuming that everyone here that these are that your artistic practice is something you're passionate about, um, while demonstrating kind of the tangible, um, business components, right? So that you've thought about um, the finances, you've thought about the um, who's your demographic, target, that sort of thing. I think that having it be more specific means that you're kind of doing your homework. Whereas, if someone says, I want to serve, even though, yes, everyone might, like, sort of all might be who you're trying to go for as the sort of who's going to buy your product or pay for your services. Um, you can get more specific than that. And I think that's where the support from the small business development centers can really come in, is to help you think about getting into those specifics, so that you can be more intentional and strategic with what marketing you do, with where you're putting your resources. They're really great at that sort of support, and having an application that shows that you've been doing that thinking, will, I think, be really useful.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Um,
I
yeah,
have a
so
question
sure.
for those of us who are really in the startup in the very infancy stage. I think you had mentioned earlier on that the funds could be used to pay the filing fees for an LLC.
Yes.
So you could sort of hold off until you know in June whether or not you got the grant, and then decide to either wait to form the LLC with grant money or go ahead and do it on your own. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, you can
Okay.
use these funds for filing your LLC, for, any other related administrative or kind of legal um, expenses. If you're, I don't know, copywriting something or trademarking something, those are also things you could use the funds for. So if you happen to be in that stage where you're kind of starting up and you're maybe about to, and you want to just wait a little bit to see if you can then get the grant to use that for the LLC filing fee, yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So, if you think of other questions as you get into the materials, by all means, please email um, the grants email. Please bear with it if there's a few days for, to respond. Um, but I will do my best to, be as responsive as possible. It is just me managing the grant. So, I appreciate the patience if I'm a little bit slow to reply, but don't worry. I will answer everything, if you have a question that comes in. Um, we will put this slide deck and the recording on the website. Um, I do encourage everyone to apply this round, since this is the last one that we're doing. We know there will be funding in the future for this program, but I don't know exactly what it'll look like. And I really hope that everyone, is successful in their endeavors. Philly and the region is a great place, so we want to support all of the wonderful things that you're doing. Um, so yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for being interested, and I look forward to seeing all your names and reading about your program, your work. So have a great day. Good luck with snow if for anyone digging things out. And well, yeah, thank you so much and have a great day. Thank you. Thank you.
You too. Thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Take care, everyone.